And we're back with the program. It's Gerald Glasser. Come right back at you here at the Pop Culture Cosmos. Thank you so much for watching and listening. It is She-Hulk. She-Hulk is now a part of the MCU as episode 1 dropped this week on Disney Plus. A lot of people were very excited to come in see this program because it leads into a lot of great things as far as the Hulk universe and so much more. So truly appreciate everyone stopping by to go ahead and hear our conversation on She-Hulk episode 1. I have thoughts on episode 1, but in order to go ahead and get a full spectrum of what everyone thinks, hopefully, or so many thinks about what's going on with She-Hulk episode 1, it's a good man indeed. You got to go ahead and check out what he's doing today at the MCU's Bleeding Edge. It is Jeff Sloboda. Welcome back, Jeff. Great to have you here. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts on She-Hulk episode 1, where we do meet up with the characters. Well, basically, it just starts out with within the first few minutes with an explanation on how Jennifer Walters became She-Hulk.
Very well done. Very, very well done origin story to flush it all out so quickly and whatnot the way that they did.
Well, I'm gonna say that's one of the detractions that I have. Overall,
Okay.
it was a good episode. I really think they rushed into it. I wish they wouldn't have. I wish they would have eased into it, but I understand since she speaks a lot from the fourth wall type perspective, I understand that that's how they wanted to go ahead and introduce her character. I wish that they would have been able to flesh this episode out a lot more, or maybe over the course of 2 episodes with her training with Bruce Banner. Basically, in essence, just want to let everybody know that it just, as far as the origin story of the MCU for She-Hulk, she is traveling with her cousin on a beginnings of a vacation, her cousin being Bruce Banner, and unfortunately a Sakaar ship from the Thor Love and Thunder stage. They actually end up meeting or almost running into the spaceship, and they have an accident because of it. And during the course of the accident, the aftermath, she unfortunately mixes blood with Bruce Banner, and that's how she becomes She-Hulk. And also how Hulk himself heals his arm. Again, I thought it was a little bit rushed, but I understand that they're working on 8 30-minute episodes essentially. That's a little over 30 minutes each episode, so they have to go ahead and bring into it. But sound like you really liked the way they went ahead and introduced this character.
Well, it was Ragnarok with Sakaar, and
I keep the Ragnarok. Yes, Thor.
We
Ragnarok.
reviewed it last night in the Bleeding Edge. It was a great time. Good
Yes.
movie, great movie to review when you really think about it. A lot of fun, but no. See, now I think honestly, Gerald, that there's a reason that they did things the way they did. I don't think they rushed anything. I think that they had a plan. I think they want her as She-Hulk. I think they wanted her as She-Hulk as soon as possible because they think that her as She-Hulk, as the character herself, Jennifer Walters as She-Hulk, is the show. Is that good of a character? And that I think that they believe that Tatiana Maslany is that good of an actress, and she's that.
Well, Tatiana is sensational in the role. I'm not going to say otherwise. It's just the fact that I would have loved as far as a little bit more background into her character, what she was doing before the start of She-Hulk. It really doesn't lead you into that. At least 5 minutes of what she's doing in the present day in regards to this. She's already actually had the accident with Bruce Banner. I just think it would have been better suited to see more of a introduction to her character, her lifestyle, that she loves and appreciates so much that she cannot ever have back in full because of now the fact that she's She-Hulk.
Well, that's the thing about the thing with the advent of Disney Plus, Gerald, is that now Marvel actually has to not only worry about being strategic and connecting all of the movies together. Now they have to anticipate and take into consideration that when they drop these Disney Plus series, when you have a Moon Knight that just came out or whatever, where they dealt with a lot of psychological, type issues and whatnot and everything, and a lot of multiple personality type stuff and flashbacks and things of that nature. Mm-hmm. I feel like you have to understand at that point that you got a flow going on there with your series where you don't want things to get too boring or too the same, right? You got to kind of change things up. So at that point, I feel like the pace of this series is going to be quick, like you said, very compact,
It
30,
was very
30
quick. It
minute
and yeah.
episodes. Yeah, that's going to be. I think it's going to be interesting. We've never had that before with any of the series, right? That small of
Well, they have in some other series sped it up, and I no, I'm not asking for 100 issues like what you have in the comic book before they go ahead and flesh things out, because you have all the time in the world when you're talking about creating the comic books. But at least maybe another episode. I would have loved another episode to flesh this out over 2 episodes, as far as her life before, her actually getting to the accident with the ship from Sakaar, which everybody knows, like you said, from Thor
Grandmaster.
Ragnarok. Yeah, Thor Ragnarok. And then you have, her training with Bruce Banner, because the best part of this episode is the banter back
Yes,
and forth that she has with Mark Ruffalo's Bruce Banner. I mean,
great
that is the
chemistry.
reason why this episode is good. That's why
Yes.
I enjoy it. It's because of the fact that they have a chemistry instantly that you can tell that it works right away.
Now, do you think that maybe that's one of the reasons why they also did things the way they did so quickly like
Probably.
that? Because they wanted to just free up the episode so they could have that
Or
one-on-one.
maybe Ruffalo's contracted to only do so much as far as what he can give to the series. I'm not sure. I just don't know why that they did what they did. Again, they just, like you said, very fast pace. Bam! They put you right in the reason why she's She-Hulk, and went from the training montage from there as far as for the rest of the episode. Again, it was a good episode overall. I just think, again, fleshing out the character, you cannot always, you got to cater to the larger audience. You cannot just cater to the comic book audience. And I understand the points where you have to go ahead and make sure that the comic book audience gets enough of the reasons why that they supported Marvel Comics over the years. I get that, but the majority of the audience has not read these comic books. And in doing so, they need to be educated more on what She-Hulk is all about. So I just would have loved a little bit longer introduction to her character and her life before, which again, she emphasizes how much she misses and loves so much after she gets the ability to become She Hulk.
Now, see, Gerald, I think that you make a really good point there. I have two things I want to say here. One, to what you just said, the general audience, right? That we don't talk about very much that very much in the bleeding edge. The fact that Disney Plus is trying to lure in new watch,
But
listeners,
that's what we
viewers
talk about on the Cosmos, because
in
the
general.
Cosmos, again, we when our audience itself
Yes,
is out to a broader audience, because we go over to dozens and dozens of radio stations worldwide.
right.
We are speaking to not just an audience of people who are familiar with this character, but a general audience who may be interested in this character. These trailers have been very amusing, entertaining. They're very enticing for people to go ahead and get into, and this is a much lighter fare than what maybe as far as Moon Knight, because Moon Knight was much heavier and darker and had different themes going on, so maybe it didn't get everybody's interest. Miss Marvel was light, but it had some different things going on as far as maybe catering to a younger audience that maybe not all audiences could get into.
It's
This
very well
seemed to be.
done. Dodge. Sorry about that. The dogs are barking at each other.
Yes, the dogs are barking. Maybe they don't like my assessment of She-Hulk. So,
Dodge. Sorry about that, Joe. Go ahead.
oh, no worries, no worries. Well, I'm just saying that again. This is really the first series in a while that I think caters to the largest general base of audience. I think that this since Hawkeye caters to the largest general scheme of audience that it's trying to endear itself to. And I understand you have to make sure you take care of, and, and I understand you have to make sure you take care of your comic book audience, but the general audience is the audience that's going to support your MCU for the most part for the rest of the way that you want to go through Phase 6. So I'm hoping that they go ahead and provide a little bit more, because at the very end, the other major issue I have, and I'll let you elaborate from here, and I'll let you take it over from here. The other
Sure.
major issue I have is the ending. She has a battle seemingly out of nowhere in the courtroom, as far as a physical battle, where the first time she has to go ahead and appear in public as She-Hulk. I was really just, kind of thrown back by, because it's just this. Okay, I'm charging through the lady that she's facing off against. She is what's her name again? See, she was
I
in
think
so
that was
fast.
I think it was Titania.
Okay, Titania, who is going to be one of the major villainesses of the actual series, going to be the major villainess of the actual series. it gives no advanced explanation on Titania and why she did what she would, why she did what she did, and basically just crashes through the courtroom, and then they go out and square off from there. It just it those are the outside of that again. If it just focused on developing her character, her working with Bruce Banner, maybe over the course of 2 episodes, I think that probably would have fit better out. But again, like you said, the frantic pace is going to work for and also work against this show in She-Hulk.
Well, that was Jamil that actually plays Titania.
Titania, yeah.
And but yeah, and going back again to the whole general audience thing, I think it is important to take into consideration that Disney Plus is a streaming service, and they do want to attract more of an audience and bring in
We've
people
got
buying.
152 million
Yeah,
subscribers to Disney Plus.
that's right. And you're right. I think that She-Hulk is definitely the kind of character and the kind of vehicle that's perfect, like for the general audience, to
It
bring in
looks it.
anything newer, like fans to the MCU and expand the things to the MCU, the fandom. You know what I mean, and reach out to more people, and not just because it is a female-centric character, because we have lots of strong, impactful female characters already in the MCU. We have them. We've seen them in recent films, right? You know what I'm saying, especially Thor
Yeah.
4. But especially Doctor Strange too.
Yeah.
But in general, I think that, like you said, the Bruce Banner, She-Hulk dynamic.
That dynamic was great. Absolutely great.
Yes, they played off. They played off very well the vibe that they are a family. They are cousins. They know each other. You know what I'm saying? And I love that they threw Sakaar into the mix, because let's be honest here. I'm sure you've heard the rumors that like Marvel Studios might be signing a deal with Mark Ruffalo to finish up his role as Hulk in the MCU long
Well,
term.
at some point in time in the next couple of years, they will be getting the rights back from Universal in order to go ahead that they could front a Hulk movie.
See, I hear all kinds of different things. Some people are saying that Marvel already has the rights. They, and whatnot. That they paid for them, or that they've obtained them. They've gotten them back. I've heard.
Well, it lapses. It lapses, I believe, in 23 or 24.
Oh, they all do. Yeah, they all do. All of them did, or
Namor, the whole 9 yards. Yeah.
Yes. But either way, the fact that they dropped the Sakaar to there like that, clearly right there gives us from a fan standpoint, from making the fans happy. That's giving us right there a clear indication that we're going to get more Hulk in the MCU. I think this is going to be pretty much it for him in She-Hulk. I don't think we're going to see him very much in the series. I think it's going to be more focused on her and all these other characters we're going to be having. Wong, the Abomination, it's going to be Daredevil, Matt Murdock.
They're all going in support of her, but it is going to be mostly her, which is great because Tatiana, she has done a tremendous job so far in this first episode. CG, I know a lot of people are talking about the different things and different quirks on it. I thought it was okay. I thought that for what it was fine. I can deal with it because her performance is so good that it makes me forget about any flaws in the CGI.
Yeah, I thought she looked great. Visually everything looked great. The Miss Marvel Disney Plus series was sparklingly well done visually. They added a lot of little gimmicks to it, like the little Miss Marvel logos they would drop in the beginning of the episodes that I really
love those. Yeah, absolutely.
They were great. They did a lot of really good things in that series,
especially the last one, or the one that they did with black and white. Enjoyed that one.
I would put it out there right now, Gerald. I watched myself randomly the other night on a Podcast of Champions podcast / YouTube video from like 8 months ago or 9 months ago, right, where we talked about Phase 4 and Phase 5, did a preview, and I literally said on my turn, like in the discussion, that what I was most optimistic about, coming up in the next 2 years or whatever, year and a half, was the Miss Marvel series. I was very optimistic about it. I didn't know why. I didn't know how well it would be received, but I thought it would end up doing well. And I guaranteed and said right there that I thought that the She-Hulk series would be the best Disney Plus series that we get this year. Now, I'm not trying to pretend like I'm an oracle here, but I'm going to put it out there again and double down. The She-Hulk Disney Plus series will end up being the best Disney Plus series we'll get this year, without question, I think.
Miss Marvel was a succce as far as numbers wise.
Better than Moon Knight.
I'm not going to dissuade you on that. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was, I think it was catering more to a younger audience. I think as far as the teen rom-com type of theme at times with it. So again, has to cater to a younger audience because you're trying to build that younger audience because they're going to be seeing Marvel in the decades to come. I won't be, so I don't blame them for going ahead and bringing Miss Marvel out. So I thought it was okay. And then, like you said, She-Hulk is so far, again, after the first episode, has done a good job. I thought it was okay. The episode, first off, again, I could nitpick at the front and I could nitpick at the end on what was done. And I thought a little bit quick, but overall, again, in the middle is a great interaction between Mark Ruffalo and Tatiana that I think is really something that people should not miss.
And it's good to see them bringing in some of the original six Avengers and some of these Disney Plus series the way they have. Even just having Ruffalo in this episode, if that's all we get, was still great. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like you
absolutely.
take what you can get with these people, these actors and these characters right at this point.
Yeah.
You can't really ask for too much.
Yeah, Ruffalo and Tatiana Maslany did a terrific job together. And yes, even if for now this is their only interaction, or maybe we'll see something on one of the tail end episodes, still it was well worth the wait. But yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, any last thoughts on episode one?
yeah.
Again, I just want to make sure that your
I
your
would just
point
say
is
that you know what, I get the things that you pointed out that you didn't like. They're very logical. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I can see why you would why you would view things that way. I disagree, and that's part of being a part of the fandom, right? Like I know
Hmm.
that you cover the pulp culture scene, the entertainment scene and whatnot more than we focus on Marvel and the MCU, and that's kind of our deal. But at the same time, I think that you and I connect on a level where we're both fans, and one of the greatest aspects of being in the MCU Marvel fandom or Marvel Comics or whatever is that this kind of stuff transcends politics and ideology and shit like that. Like we don't need to worry about that crap. And these days, Gerald, honestly, to have anything like that out there that allows us to do that, I think is a great thing.
It is a great thing indeed. Again, I just wish they wouldn't have rushed into it so quickly,
Oh
allowed
yes,
it to flesh itself out. But then again, these episodes are only a little over 30 minutes each. So I guess for that sense, you have to go ahead and rush through things, so that you can go ahead and be able to get across what you want to get across, which is establishing She-Hulk as a character that you want to make a great part of the MCU going forward. And Tatiana Maslany, I think, is going to be a great part of that because I think she's a tremendous actress. Seeing her in She-Hulk, I think that really tells me right now that she has got a great future in the MCU. Again, with the thing with Titania, they give no explanation to a general audience why she's there and why she's bursting through the courtroom and tearing up the courtroom and then ultimately getting in a battle and being defeated by She-Hulk. I'm assuming over the course of the next few episodes you will understand why that is, but still, again, outside of those similar, those small flaws, I think overall it's a good episode and a decent start for this MCU series.
how about She Hulk and how about Titania Maslany in the Avengers eventually, which
Oh,
is where she's
it's
going
a
to end
no
up.
doubter. It's a no
Oh yeah,
doubter. Yeah,
yeah. There you
absolutely.
go.
Secret Wars, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, I mean that's what this phase. I know
That's
this
what
phase
Titania comes in. She's from Secret Wars.
phase four is a phase where it's provided to a general audience a lot of confusion, some mixed results, some ups, some downs. Overall, this phase has, but I understand what this phase four is doing is that it's providing a lot of introductions for fans going forward to understand what is going on for the Avengers in phase five and phase six, especially with Secret Wars and the Kang Dynasty movies that are coming out in phase six, to understand why they're there and understand that those individuals, for the most part, will be the key to the future of the Avengers and the MCU over the next few years.
See, and that's why they didn't want WandaVision to come right out of the gate and be the first Disney Plus series. They wanted Falcon and the Winter Soldier to
Yeah.
go first, right? Because they felt like those characters and those actors could translate to a general audience better and more effectively. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Than WandaVision could. But hey, it ended up working out okay. I thought WandaVision was the best series we got last year.
So, like I said, off to a decent start. She Hulk is.
Oh
You
yeah.
really like it, and I'm really happy for you that you enjoyed it tremendously. But once again, it's Jeff Sloboda from the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Please go ahead and check them out today. So, where can they check out the MCU's Bleeding Edge? And what are you going to be touching on this weekend on the MCU's Bleeding Edge?
We're doing our first She-Hulk episode 1 review. We'll be doing them every Friday evening at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific on the MCU's Bleeding Edge YouTube channel. We're on Twitch. We're on Twitter. We're on Rumble now. And hats off to Rumble for being willing to give us the other day, free exclusive streaming access to the platform. It was very kind of them to support our show and everything and whatnot. We're already doing well on there. It's a new platform for us. So we do all our shows live, which is a little unique in our niche, but it's what we like to do. And basically, we'll be doing She-Hulk episode reviews for the next 8 weeks on Friday evenings. Our Wednesday main show with my co-host Cybernetic Shark, veteran YouTuber or veteran content creator. Last night we just did an actual Thor Ragnarok review. We're gonna be doing some movie reviews as we work our way through to Infinity War and Endgame. And then probably do maybe some comic book oriented stuff, on the main Wednesday show here and there over the next couple of weeks. Cover some news, articles and news stories, rumors. We're still trying to, work out everything that's happened with San Diego Comic Con and the Marvel Studios panel. But we have a Sunday show as well that goes off. I usually pick the time around on Fridays around. It's either 5, 6, or 7 p.m. The 9:30 p.m. was just too late for people. And on that one, that's more of a wide open kind of show where we kind of just let things, go where they go. If the conversation, goes off track or whatever, we let it roll. It's pretty light. And for the most part, yeah, you can find us on YouTube. We're at the MCU's bleedingedge.org. That's our website. And we're on every social media, platform there is. So we're not hard to find. There's nobody else that sounds like us. So
there you go. All right. Once again, it's the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Check it out today, wherever you get your podcasts. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for touching on the first episode of She-Hulk. Great to hear your thoughts. I'm glad you really enjoyed it. I always like to, I know a lot of people, when I talk to them, they're kind of like, oh, well, Gerald didn't like it as well. You know what? I don't care if, Bob, if I liked it or not. I mean, I care if I like things or whatnot, I should say. But I really enjoy it more when friends or people that stop by or guests that stop by really enjoy things even more than myself, because I know that they're getting the most out of it. Pop culture to them is really special, and I love it when somebody actually gets more enjoyment than I did on something, because it really makes it that much more special to talk about. So, Jeff, truly appreciate your thoughts on episode 1 and wishing you tremendous success with the MCU's Bleeding Edge. And again, just truly appreciate you stopping by the pub.